My name is Lauren Whitmore, and I'm 32 years old. The night everything ended didn't start with a fight. There was no screaming, no slammed doors, no dramatic ultimatum delivered through clenched teeth. It started with a phone buzz. I was on the couch, knees tucked under a throw blanket I'd bought on sale last winter, the kind of purchase you make when you're thinking long term. My boyfriend Ryan had kissed my cheek an hour earlier and told me he was heading out for a guys' night. He smelled like his cedarwood cologne. He always wore it when he wanted to feel impressive. "Don't wait up," he had said casually, grabbing his jacket. I hadn't thought twice about it. 4 years together, 2 years living under the same roof. Trust wasn't something I believed required surveillance. At least it hadn't been. Around 10:07 p.m., my phone vibrated again. This time it was my friend Maya. "Are you with Ryan?" That question landed heavier than it should have. I opened Instagram before replying. There it was, a story glowing at the top of my feed like a warning flare. "Boys' night out. Don't need permission from anyone. Living free." The caption sat above a boomerang of clinking glasses, dim lighting, polished marble bar, the unmistakable interior of Vesper, an upscale cocktail lounge downtown. Not cheap, not casual. And then I saw the tag. Not just the location, a person. Emily Clark, Ryan's ex-girlfriend. The one he told me he hadn't spoken to in years. The one whose name he'd rolled his eyes at whenever it came up. The one he'd called a chapter I closed for good. My thumb hovered over the screen. I didn't comment, didn't text, didn't call. I just stared. There's a moment when something breaks so cleanly that you don't feel pain right away. You feel clarity. Like the fog lifts instead of thickens. I thought about all the little things I'd ignored. The way he angled his phone away from me. The way he'd started accusing me of being distant. The way "you're overthinking" had become his favorite phrase. Social media has a way of exposing people who think they're smarter than the truth. And Ryan had just told me everything I needed to know. I locked my phone, set it face down on the coffee table, and stood up. I didn't cry. I walked to the bedroom, opened in the closet, and pulled out an empty suitcase. By 10:30, I was folding his clothes with the kind of calm that only shows up when a decision has already been made. This wasn't rage. It was separation. I called Maya back. "Are you okay?" she asked carefully. "I am," I said, and for the first time all night, I realized it was true. "Do you still have your SUV?" There was a pause, then, "Say less. I'm on my way." When I hung up, I glanced once more at my phone. A new notification. Ryan had posted again. Same bar, same grin, same woman just out of frame. And for the first time in months, my chest felt light. Not because it didn't hurt, but because I wasn't confused anymore. By the time Maya pulled into the parking lot, I'd already moved past the shock and into something colder, cleaner. We didn't talk much when she came in. She took one look at my face, the open suitcase on the bed, the empty hangers collecting like ribs along one side of the closet, and nodded. "Tell me what to do," she said. That was the tone of the night. No theatrics, no pity, just execution. I started with the obvious things: Ryan's clothes from my side of the closet, his shoes by the door, the hoodie he always stole back from me when the weather changed. Each item felt lighter than it should have, as if it had already detached itself emotionally before I touched it. We weren't packing everything, not yet. This wasn't eviction, it was demarcation. His belongings went into neat piles in the living room. Clothes folded, shoes paired, toiletries boxed. The expensive espresso machine he'd insisted on buying with my card because it was for us went into the stack too. So did his gaming console, his spare monitor, the ugly lamp his sister gave us that he'd sworn was modern. Every item moved felt like reclaiming oxygen. The hardest part was Atlas. He padded into the room while we were working, tail high, eyes curious. Ryan had adopted him a year before we met, back when he still lived with roommates and talked about figuring things out. Atlas had figured me out instead, slept at my feet, followed me from room to room, chirped at the door when I came home late. I crouched down and scratched behind his ears, breathing him in like a memory I wasn't allowed to keep. "You're going to be okay," I whispered. "You're just going to have a different address." I made sure his food and water were full, left his carrier out, visible. No cruelty, just boundaries. By midnight, the apartment felt different, quieter, not empty, accurate. We moved my work set up into the spare bedroom, the one Ryan had always referred to as temporary, but never helped me organize. Fresh sheets, clean desk, door that locked. The master bedroom, the room we'd shared, felt wrong now, like a stage set after the audience leaves. I didn't want to sleep there again. Before Maya left, she hesitated near the door. You sure you don't want to talk to him first? She asked gently. Just hear him out? I thought about the story, the caption, the tag. I heard him, I said. He said it publicly. She nodded. Call me if you need anything. I waited until her taillights disappeared before I picked up my phone. 3 messages from Ryan. 11:42 p.m. Having a great time. Don't wait up. 12:08 a.m. Might crash at Jason's. 12:51 a.m. Actually heading home. See you soon, babe. I didn't respond. Instead, I called my cousin Elena, a paralegal who'd once told me, half joking, if you ever need to legally dismantle a man, call me. I woke her up. She listened quietly while I explained how long he'd lived here, whose name was on the lease, what had happened. Do not change the locks, she said immediately. Not yet. That's an illegal eviction. You'll lose all leverage. So what do? You do it clean. You give him notice. 30 days. Formal. Written. You document everything. By 1:30 a.m., I had 2 documents printed. One was strictly legal, notice to vacate, termination of a month-to-month tenancy, 30 days from receipt. Boring, necessary. The second was simpler. Ryan, your things have been gathered. We are no longer in a relationship. I am formally ending our living arrangement. Your legal 30-day notice is on the counter. Your portion of last month's rent, $900, is in the envelope beside it. I will be sleeping in the spare room during the notice period. Please do not contact me unless it's to coordinate the move. Lauren. I placed the note on his pillow. Then I went to the spare room, locked the door, and for the first time in months, I slept. I woke up to my phone vibrating itself halfway off the nightstand. For a moment, I didn't know where I was. The spare room felt unfamiliar in that hazy, half-dream state, the different angle of the light, the quiet hum of the city outside the window instead of Ryan's breathing beside me. Then I looked at my screen. 52 missed calls. I didn't need to unlock it to know who they were from. 19 from Ryan. The rest from numbers I recognized instantly. His sister, his friends, a couple of people I'd only met once at birthday parties and barbecues. There were texts stacked so tightly they blurred into each other. I made coffee first. That felt important, normal, grounding. Only after the mug was warm in my hands did I sit at the kitchen counter and start reading. What the hell is wrong with you, Lauren? Why is my stuff piled up like garbage? This is insane. I can explain last night. It's not what you think. Emily was there with a group. I barely talked to her. You're throwing away 4 years over nothing. I live here. You can't just kick me out. If you don't answer me right now, I'm calling the police. I stopped scrolling when my chest tightened. Not from guilt, but from recognition. The pivot had begun. Confusion, denial, outrage, victimhood. Right on schedule. At 7:14 a.m., a new text came in from a number labeled unknown. This is Ryan's sister. What you did is abusive. He's devastated. I didn't reply. By 7:30, my phone started buzzing nonstop again. Not calls this time, notifications. Ryan had gone public. I opened Instagram and felt something in my chest go still. A crying selfie filled my screen. Mascara streaked, eyes red, mouth trembling just enough to look raw, but not enough to look uncontrolled. I'd seen that expression before, in mirrors, during arguments where he'd twisted the narrative so subtly I'd questioned my own memory. The caption read, "When you think you know someone, woke up to my things dumped and told to leave for going out with friends. Controlling behavior is abuse. Narcissistic manipulation is real." Comments were already pouring in. You deserve better. So proud of you for leaving. Men like this always show their true colors eventually. If you need a place to stay, call me. My name wasn't mentioned. It didn't need to be. Within minutes, my own notifications exploded. DMs calling me heartless. Comments accusing me of being cold, cruel, unhinged. One woman I barely remembered meeting wrote a paragraph about how strong men don't fear independent women. I watched it all unfold like I was underwater. Here's the thing they don't tell you about being falsely accused in public. The loudest person isn't always the most believable. They're just the fastest. I didn't defend myself. I didn't post my side, didn't drop screenshots, didn't explain. Because Ryan, in his rush to control the narrative, had already made a mistake. He hadn't deleted his original story. The one where he tagged Emily Clark. The one about not needing permission. The one filmed at Vesper. Maya had already sent me screenshots. Every angle, every tag, every timestamp. Even better, Emily had posted too. Same bar, same night, same table. Her caption, "Reunions hit different." I locked my phone and took a sip of coffee that had gone cold. Around noon, the pounding started. Not knocking. Pounding. I opened the door to find Ryan standing there with his sister and two guys I didn't recognize. He looked wrecked, jaw tight, eyes wild, the scent of last night still clinging to him like smoke. "You can't do this," he shouted, trying to push past me. I stepped into the doorway and didn't move. "I'm not doing anything," I said calmly. "You have 30 days. It's legal." "I'm calling the cops," he yelled. "I already did," I replied. "Non-emergency. Told them there might be a disturbance." His sister lifted her phone, already recording. "You're sick," she said. "The internet is going to eat you alive." I almost laughed. Instead, I waited. When the officers arrived 20 minutes later, I handed them the lease, my name only, and the notice. The older officer nodded. "She's correct," he said to Ryan. "This is a civil matter. You have access to the apartment and your belongings. There's no crime here." Ryan's face collapsed in on itself. As they left, he turned back to me, eyes burning. "You'll regret this," he said. "Everyone's going to know what kind of person you are." He was right. They were, just not the way he thought. The door clicked shut behind them, and the apartment went quiet in that hollow, echoing way it does after a storm passes, but the air still smells like rain. I leaned my back against the door for a moment, not because I was shaken, but because my body needed a pause. My hands were steady, my breathing was even. What I felt wasn't fear. It was anticipation. Ryan thought the worst thing that could happen had already happened. He thought being embarrassed was the end of the story. He had no idea the story was just changing narrators. I checked my phone for the first time in hours. The comment sections were still on fire, but the tone had shifted, slowly, subtly. Someone had reposted Ryan's original story. Screenshots don't disappear just because you want them to. Another account had pointed out the tag. Someone else had tagged Emily Clark's profile directly, asking awkward questions she hadn't answered yet. The narrative was wobbling. At 2:17 p.m., I got a DM from a name I recognized immediately. Daniel Morris, Emily's fiancé. We'd met once. At a charity auction, Ryan insisted we attend because networking matters. Daniel had been polite, quiet, the kind of man who listened more than he spoke. I remembered thinking Emily had somehow outgrown Ryan's type. His message was simple. "Hi, Lauren. I'm sorry to message you out of the blue. I wanted to ask, are these posts why Emily is telling people you kicked Ryan out for no reason?" I stared at the screen for a long moment. This was the fork in the road. I could ignore it, let the chaos burn itself out. Or I could be precise. I replied with 3 images. Ryan's Instagram story. Emily's post from the same night. The timestamp. Then I typed 1 sentence. "I think you and I should talk." He called within 5 minutes. "I had a feeling, yeah," he said, not angry, just tired. "She's been weird about her phone for weeks. Changed her passcode, said she was going out with coworkers more. I didn't want to be paranoid." The word hung between us like an old bruise. Gaslighting loves reasonable people. "I'm sorry," I said, and meant it. "Don't be," Daniel replied. "If anything, thank you." He told me something Ryan never would have admitted. Emily and Ryan had never really stopped talking. Daniel had found old messages once, nothing explicit, just enough to feel wrong. Emily had cried, sworn Ryan was obsessed with her, claimed she'd only been being polite. Sounded familiar. "She's on a work trip," Daniel said. "Seattle. But our building has shared security access. I can check footage when I'm back." My pulse didn't spike. I didn't need it to. By Sunday afternoon, Ryan's online campaign had escalated. 3 posts, each more emotional than the last. One about losing everything overnight, one about men who fear strong women. And finally, a link. GoFundMe. Starting over. After emotional abuse. Goal. $5,000. Raised. $240. Most of it from his sister and a coworker. I watched it the way you watch someone stack kindling too close to an open flame. Then my phone rang. It was Evan, a friend from my gym who bartended at Vesper on weekends. "I can't send you anything official," he said carefully. "I'd lose my job. But I'm telling you, Ryan and Emily were not just there together. They were very together." He sent a photo anyway. Blurry, taken from his phone, aimed at a security monitor. But unmistakable. 2 people leaning into each other at the bar, her hand on his thigh, his mouth too close to her ear. "She paid," Evan added. "Bill was almost $300. A second image followed. A receipt, time-stamped, itemized, charged to the shared credit card on my account. I exhaled slowly. Ryan still thought silence meant weakness. He didn't realize silence was strategy. Because Daniel was flying home early. And when he landed, everything was about to change. Daniel landed Sunday night. I know this because at 8:42 p.m., my phone buzzed with a single message. "I'm home. I checked the footage. What followed came in pieces like the slow tightening of a knot. First, a still frame. Timestamp 3:47 a.m. Friday night. The lobby of Daniel and Emily's apartment building. Glass doors, concrete floors. A familiar jacket slung over a familiar shoulder. Ryan. Emily walked beside him, laughing, her hand wrapped casually around his forearm, like it had always belonged there. Then a video clip. Short, silent, damning. They moved down the hallway together, shoulders brushing, bodies angled inward. The kind of body language people only have when they think they're unseen. The next clip came a few seconds later. 4:15 a.m. Emily exiting the apartment alone, wearing one of Ryan's old t-shirts. The same charcoal one I'd folded and unfolded 100 times. The one I'd bought him for his birthday 2 years ago, because he said it was perfectly broken in. I sat very still. This was the moment people expect you to feel triumph, vindication, fire in your veins. What I felt instead was quiet, like the last piece of a puzzle clicking into place. Daniel called me a few minutes later. I posted, he said. I opened Instagram. At the top of my feed was a photo from Daniel's account. Him and Emily at their engagement party, arms around each other, smiles wide and unsuspecting. The caption beneath it was short, surgical. Interesting Friday night you had, Emily Clark. Thanks for showing me who you really are. Wedding's off. P.S. Ryan Mitchell. He's all yours now. Good luck. You deserve each other. He'd tagged everyone. Emily, Ryan, both families, mutual friends, even his own mother. And in his stories, he posted the footage. All of it. The lobby, the hallway, the timestamps. No commentary, no explanation, just facts. The shift didn't happen instantly. It never does. But over the next few hours, the internet did what it always does when presented with evidence. It recalibrated. Comments started disappearing from Ryan's posts, then appearing again, rewritten. Wait, wasn't this the ex he tagged? So you cheated and got kicked out? Play stupid games. Team Lauren, Daniel didn't deserve this. Ryan's GoFundMe was reported before midnight. By morning, it was gone. Emily went silent. Ryan didn't. He posted a long, rambling statement about miscommunications, about how social media doesn't tell the full story, about taking accountability while protecting his mental health. His boss commented under it, "Let's discuss this Monday." I almost felt bad. Almost. Ryan tried to pivot, claimed he and Emily had gone out as a group, conveniently ignoring the security footage. His sister doubled down, accusing Daniel of violating privacy. But privacy arguments die fast when timestamps exist. Monday morning came with one last message I hadn't expected. An email from Ryan's mother. "Lauren, I'm disappointed in how you've handled this. Ryan made a mistake, but this public spectacle feels unnecessary. He's barely eating. He's humiliated. Is this really worth destroying 4 years over one night? One mistake. That's what months of emotional cheating, financial deception, and public humiliation always get reduced to in the end. One mistake." I didn't reply. Instead, I made my first and only post. A single Instagram story. A photo of my living room. Clean, quiet, sunlight spilling across the floor where his boxes had been. The caption read, "Life update, single apartment, choosing peace. Sometimes the trash takes itself out." And because I'm human, I added one more line. "P.S. If anyone wants drinks at Vesper, I hear they make great cocktails." Petty? Maybe. Necessary? Absolutely. The fallout didn't explode. It collapsed. That's the difference between lies and truth. Lies are loud until they aren't. Truth doesn't rush. It waits for gravity to do its job. By Tuesday morning, Ryan's name was being spoken in a different tone. Not outrage, not sympathy, embarrassment. Daniel texted me first. "Just wanted you to know, I found more." He sent screenshots this time, not of Emily, of Ryan. Messages to 3 other women. Different names. Same cadence. Same lines I'd once thought were ours alone. "You up? I miss how easy it feels with you. Lauren doesn't really get me the way you do." The timestamps overlapped. Ryan hadn't been cheating reactively. He'd been doing it strategically. Daniel told me Ryan had moved out that morning, left most of his things behind, took only clothes and his laptop. The kind of exit men make when they don't want to look at the wreckage they caused. "Emily tried calling me all night," Daniel said when he phoned, crying. Blaming you, blaming me, blaming everyone but herself. I pictured her pacing the apartment, phone pressed to her ear, trying to stitch together a story that could still make her the victim. Some narratives can't be salvaged. Ryan tried, though. He sent me a message that afternoon. Not angry this time, careful. "I never meant to hurt you. Things just got complicated. We should talk. for closure. Closure is a word people use when they want absolution without accountability. I didn't respond. Instead, I forwarded the credit card statement to my bank and flagged the Vesper charges as unauthorized personal expenses. The shared card was closed within the hour. When someone spends your money on their own betrayal, paperwork becomes very satisfying. By Wednesday, Ryan's workplace drama spilled online. Apparently, his boss hadn't appreciated learning, via Instagram comments, that company funds had been used for networking drinks that turned into an overnight stay with someone who wasn't his partner. By Thursday, his LinkedIn bio changed, taking time to focus on personal growth and healing. Translation: unemployed. Emily resurfaced briefly with a post about women supporting women and how outsiders never understand the full context. The comments were unkind. Someone posted the security footage again. Another linked Daniel's engagement announcement. A third asked if this was the same Emily who'd been tagged at Vesper with Ryan. She deleted the post within an hour. Ryan's sister tried one last time, sent me a voice memo about forgiveness, about how men make mistakes when they feel emasculated. I deleted it without listening to the end, because by then, something important had happened. The noise stopped mattering. Ryan came back for his things on day 29. Not 30, 29. He arrived with an entourage. His mother, his sister, and two men who hovered in the hallway like they were there to intimidate me into nostalgia. I wasn't alone. Maya was there, Elena was there, and my phone was recording from the moment the door opened. Ryan looked smaller, not physically, but emotionally. The confidence that had once filled rooms now leaked out of him in sharp, defensive movements. His eyes flicked constantly, like he was bracing for another blow. We didn't hug. We didn't even exchange pleasantries. He went straight for the TV. "That's mine," he said. I handed him the receipt. Purchased, paid in full, by me. He tried the kitchenware next. Receipts again. Then the gaming console. Receipt. Each time, the argument died faster. His mother stepped in, voice soft, practiced. "Lauren, honey, 4 years is a long time. Ryan's learned his lesson. Haven't you, sweetheart?" Ryan nodded too quickly. "I messed up," he said. "I know that now, but we were good together." "We were," I agreed calmly. "And then you weren't." Emily's name hung unspoken in the air. No one brought her up. No one needed to. They packed in silence after that. Boxes scraped the floor. Tape ripped. The kind of sounds that feel final no matter how quiet they are. Before he left, Ryan stood by the door. "You didn't have to destroy me," he said quietly. I met his eyes. "I didn't," I replied. "I just stopped protecting you from the consequences." The door closed. An hour later, I changed the locks. It's been 3 weeks. The apartment feels like mine again, not just legally, but emotionally. The air is lighter. The silence is restful instead of tense. I got a promotion at work. Turns out not carrying someone else's lies around frees up a lot of mental bandwidth. I've been going to the gym consistently, cooking meals I like, watching documentaries without someone complaining they're too depressing. Atlas came back too. Ryan texted once, asked if I could keep him temporarily because his mom's allergies were bad and pet deposits were expensive. I told him to bring the carrier. Atlas hasn't left my side since. Daniel and I grabbed drinks once, then dinner another time. Nothing rushed, nothing labeled. 2 people comparing scar tissue and choosing honesty over adrenaline. No promises. Just peace. Ryan tried one final reach out last week. An email about therapy, about attachment issues, about wanting to apologize properly. I didn't reply. Some apologies are for the person offering them, not the one receiving them. The last thing I heard about him came from a mutual acquaintance at the grocery store. She leaned in and said quietly, "Just so you know, everyone saw it coming. We tried to tell him. He didn't listen." Some people only learn when the lesson costs them everything. Life's good now. The apartment is clean. The cat is happy. The TV is mine. And I don't flinch when my phone buzzes anymore. Because when someone shows you who they are, publicly, loudly, without shame, believe them. The first time.